Hi, it's Jansen from VMO. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about rod tip tape and how to apply it. So I've obviously got a bare rod tip section here, and if I was to use this in the dark now, I wouldn't be able to see it. You know, I'd be able to see a little bit of it if I had a good head torch on, but basically it's going to be, you know, pretty dull. It's not really going to stand out. I'm going to apply some reflective rod tip tape, the Mighty Bright tape, and I'll be able to see this rod tip from over 100 yards away. It's a really effective way of going about things. It lasts for ages. Let's get into it. So this is the Mighty Bright reflective tape. You can get this in a number of different colours now. They also do a premium version which is a bit longer, but there are literally umpteen colours to choose from. Now personally I do like the original grey, silver, white, whatever you want to refer to it as. You know, a proper reflective material. So with a job like this, preparation really is key. Here's my rod tip. It's a lovely little rod, any fish anywhere, 4 and bait, nice fun rod. It's been out a couple of times, so it has got a little bit of a salty residue to it. It's been chucked around in the van. You know how it is, we don't always look after our fishing tackle as best we should. So first thing to do, like I say, is just to give this a good clean up to make sure that our Mighty Bright tip tape is going to stick. So let's get into that now. So good old methylated spirits, easy enough to find in your average hardware store, £1.50, £1.99 thereabouts. It's not going to break the bank, but it's really useful for this kind of thing. So second thing you're going to need is an old pair of Calvin Klein boxer shorts. Of course you can use other brands if you so wish. And we're going to put some meths straight on there. And I bet when those pants were being made, they never realised one day they'd be used for this. But there you go. So I'm just going to give the two sections a rub down that are going to have the tip tape applied to. And it's just to literally get, you know, any dust or muck off of there. There we go. Fantastic. Calvin Klein's done a great job. So we've got a nice clean rod there. We're just going to give it a minute or so just to dry off properly. Not that it's going to be wet, but you know, just to give it the benefit of the doubt. There we go. So I've given that a good couple of minutes to dry off. Like I say, not that it's going to be especially wet, but it's just gives it a chance to evaporate, that's all. So let's get into this packet of Mighty Bright. And you'll see that they're pre-cut lengths on here. So really simple to use. Now, do bear with me, and remember I have got a camera tripod in between myself and the rod tip. Now what I'm going to do is take the first strip from the backing card, like that. So what I like to do to start with is position the reflective tape strip just inside of the whipping there. And I'm just going to hold that for a sec. Now ideally you're going to be doing this in a warm room, and it does make a difference. The adhesive becomes softer, the tape becomes softer, it's more pliable. So I'm just going to hold that there for a second, that's fine. And I'm going to start to spiral the tape along the blank of the rod. And I'm just going to continue to turn the rod, spiralling as I go. So I've got roughly the same kind of gap in between the whipping. And really this depends how fussy you are. If you like your rods to look absolutely pristine and uniform, then you know you're going to really take your time on this and get it looking ultra good. But this for me is more than adequate. Remember the whole idea of putting this tape on the rod is so that we can see it in the dark, and we're not going to have any issues with this. So there we go. So that's our first piece in place. Now obviously there's this gap and we want to fill in this gap. So we'll get our second piece of tape I'm going to bring that round, and I'm just going to repeat the process of continuing with that spiral all the way down the rod. And when I get to the whipping, that little blue band, I'm just going to snip it off underneath. There we go. So to me, that's more than adequate. I mean, what you can do is put a couple of bands around either side. So if I find an offcut of tape, I could actually finish that off a bit neater if I wanted to. By wrapping some tape around there like that. You can see that's a little bit neater there. Like I say, it's very much down to personal preference. If you want your rod to look absolutely showroom, you're going to take a lot of time, and like I say, do it in a warm room. The tape is easier to work with. But for me, that is absolutely more than adequate. The rod tip is going to show up in the dark, and that's the whole purpose of putting the tape on there. So there we go, there's our reflective Mighty Bright rod tip tape in place. It's not a work of art, that took me all of a minute or so to put on, but it's going to do the job. And this very much does depend on how fussy you are. If you like your rods to be absolutely pristine and showroom condition, then perhaps you're going to make a bit of a neater job of it, but then perhaps you're not going to have a camera tripod in your way at the same time. But that's more than adequate for my needs. I'm going to be able to see the rod tip in the dark, and that's why I put that reflective tape on there to start with. So that was a Teakle talk on how to apply the Mighty Bright reflective tip tape. I hope you found it useful. As with all of this content, if you do enjoy it, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you again.